Hi everyone, it's Jeff Hopper back with Jeff Cranford talking about threads of righteousness, and we've gotten into a discussion about mercy and justice. I had a grandfather who passed away not too long ago, Jeff, in his later 90s, and he was kind of a beloved member of the family, and he was really, generally speaking, a pretty quiet guy unless he saw something that he thought was unjust. He'd be riding a bus and somebody would do something, and a man would treat a woman poorly or something on the bus. He would get in that guy's face. He would push and shove. I mean, he was like a defender of the right.
He was turning over the tables in the.
He was. And in that way, whether he was setting out to say, I'm going to be a biblically just man, he was enacting justice in a way that was possible for him in the world around him. When we look at Isaiah 58, God talks through Isaiah to the people saying, look, you think you're really religious and right because you do kind of some of these religious things, fasting specifically. He says, your fasts mean nothing to me because over here on the side, you're not demonstrating mercy, you're not demonstrating justice. Basically, you're not being defenders of the weak. And when we consider how our righteousness might shine before others, if we were known as defenders of the weak, what a difference that might make.
Yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's a kind of a balance between following Jesus is only social justice, and then following Jesus is an intimate personal relationship, and they should be merged together, but somehow they've been separated through time. So if you look historically, for instance, what Martin Luther King did, a very necessary, incredible time of our and shame on our country as it related to segregation and all those issues, but it became part of the church's task to be part of that justice issue. And yet, sometimes it can go where it's only about social issues now, and we lose also then the intimacy between God. It's just a social issue. So people they're attracted to this movement because they're attracted to I'm against that as well. And now you have a lot of people in bed with the same thing, and yet there's not really a fundamental worship of Christ. The other side is, we're all about a relationship with Jesus, and we come to Bible studies, and we do all this, and yet we really don't have much of a concern about justice. And yet it should be both. It shouldn't be an either or. It has to be a both and. And so when I look at that, and I think about that often, I think one of the things I love is just being here in the desert is I see so many of our men and women that get enthralled with their relationship with Jesus, and the closer that they get to him in their personal relationship, then they have reactions like your grandfather, and then they do something about it, and they do something about it powerfully. We have a lot of guys involved in prison ministry here. We have a level 4 prison just an hour and a half away, and we have 10, 15 people that are involved in our Links Fellowships that go to this prison on a routine basis. We have people that are involved in a rescue mission here locally, and many other things, many other places where both mercy is involved and justice is involved, and they love this involvement, and it comes as a function of their relationship with Jesus. So it's a both and there. It's not one apart from the other, it's one because of the other. And I think that's essentially what we've been talking about, Jeff, is all these stem from God's heartbeat being transplanted in us, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves caring about the same thing that God cares about. And God clearly cares about justice.
Many of you are familiar with the LINKS of links, which is this acrostic that's been put together through the years. Jim Hiskey put it together originally, and it starts with what we've already talked about, the great commandment, love God and others. But in the middle of it is that K, kindle compassion for the poor and needy. And we have seen some of our fellowships do a wonderful work there. They've raised funds together for some of the staff maybe in their clubs who have special needs that have come up, or Christmas gifts, or just things like that recognize that there are those around us who do not have every physical need met. And sometimes we can break down barriers by being attentive to the needs of others and employing the love of Christ.
Yeah, you can't save the world, but you can be involved in the salvation, not only spiritually speaking, but also just of physical needs with those around you.
Yeah. Wow. Mercy and justice. Well, let's talk about some other aspects of righteousness when we get together again.
Sounds good.